Cast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, traders. Can you hear me and see my screen? If you could just type yes in the questions. All right, thank you. Good morning. Okay, welcome to the Bookmap Platform Details webinar. What we're going to do is go through a bit of what Bookmap is, the website, look at the product, how you connect Bookmap, and then we're going to start to define what Bookmap is and then look at the order flow and go through some of the basic components in the order flow and looking at order flow phenomena. Okay, so Bookmap does come with education when you subscribe. There's a 4-part educational course, and in that course we go through basic market mechanics. Okay, and this is actually kind of new information for a lot of traders, even veteran traders. Please take everything that you've learned, put it aside for a moment, and just try to absorb the education from Bookmap, understanding the order flow. Okay, and then once you subscribe to the product, you also get access to the advanced order flow webinars, where we analyze the market. We don't go through anything about the platform. We just analyze the market, and then we start to anticipate future price movement based on what we see in the order flow. Okay, so the education that you get with Bookmap is you have the course, and then it's backed up every day in the live advanced order flow webinars, and those start at 11 a.m. Immediately following this webinar, so in another 26 minutes or so. Okay, all right. Risk disclaimer, I haven't gone through that yet. Trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Okay, so we do trade futures, equities, and the cryptocurrencies. All right, well, let's jump over to the website here and just scroll down. There's an intro video here, just information about Bookmap in general. A bit further down, let's just get to connectivity. So you will need to provide your data for Bookmap for futures or US equities. Right. So Bookmap connects to several, as you can see here, several different data providers. So Bookmap is a software trading visualization platform. However, you can connect to any of these data providers here at the same time as well. So you can have a feed for CQG, Rhythmic, Gain, Capital, IQ feed, and Transact, and then Dev Experts all together at the same time. All right, if you wanted, you can do that. You can see there's some other platforms up here as well. Ninja, TTX Trader Pro, and Interactive Brokers Traders Workstation. We connect via the API of these 3 platforms. But since we are a full platform ourselves, it is better to just connect directly to the data provider. All right, so let me go over this NASDAQ and Dev Experts here, because you probably haven't heard of them. If you have, then you know that this is for US equities. It's for NASDAQ Total View. It's an excellent feed, very low latency, full depth of market, and this is really quite a advantage here, because you can, let me just show you, for example. Let's go to Apple, and let's zoom out here, right? Okay, so here we are at the 9:30 open right away. Okay, I already have my lines drawn in immediately. I know where the sellers are. They're up here at 168. I know where the buyers are. They're down here at 166 and also 165. Okay, why are we bouncing down here? Well, because these guys are getting filled here and they're absorbing the sellers, and we see a nice little bounce. Okay, we're bouncing back up to where they traded through these guys at 166. Okay, so we'll see if we continue or not, or come back down to test again 165. All right, so really helpful here. This can line up with your technical analysis. Anyway, I'm a big fan of it. I like it quite a bit. Futures as well, we have full depth of market depending on your data provider. Okay, Rhythmic offers full depth. So what that means is if I zoom out here, okay, we're looking at the S&P E-mini. This is all live. Everything is live in this book. Okay, and I can zoom vertically here as well. All of these levels up here, they're live. Okay, so look at the amount of resistance up here at 2600, the figure. That's no surprise. But where are they on the bid? Well, they're down here at 69, 25.69. The majority of them. Okay, haven't tested that area yet, as you can see. Anyway, let's take a step back here. I wanted to go over that for the full depth. Interesting stuff here. Look at them come into the book here as well at just after 7 o'clock. Okay, so a lot of players coming in into the market at that time, providing liquidity. Anyway, let's just take a step back here. Now we've gone through the connectivity, and then here are the packages. Okay, there's monthly and yearly. You can subscribe to. You get 20% off for the yearly. Monthly here. Let's click on that, and then these are the different versions of Bookmap. So there's digital and there's global. Digital is for digital currencies, and global is for everything. It's for U.S. equities and futures, as well as digital currencies. Okay, so the digital version here is free. You only get access. It's a live feed. It's a full working copy of Bookmap, but you only get access to one digital currency at a time. So you can look at Bitcoin, US dollar, for example, and that's all you get. Right now, you get basically the basic education here that we're going through, and what's available on our website or YouTube channel, and you also get limited support. Okay. Now the Digital Plus version, you get up to 20 different digital currencies at once. The data feed is free. You can record and replay your data for strategy testing. You also can trade right from the Bookmap chart into the GDAX market, and you also get the advanced education that I was mentioning earlier, which gives you access to the course as well as the advanced order flow webinars. Okay, the global version, you get the advanced education and full support, but this one allows the connectivity to the futures market and US equities with that DX feed. Okay. The Global Plus version, the only difference here is that there's a cache of add-on indicators that we put together. Right? So one is the ability to trade right from the Bookmap chart for futures and equities. The others here, proprietary indicators that look at order flow phenomena. So for example, our large lot tracker, we're not only looking at phenomena in the book, we're starting to identify specific players. Okay? Larger players holding the majority of that liquidity at these price levels. Okay, and some imbalance indicators, an iceberg detector. So these are larger traders using hidden orders, getting filled in specific areas that they don't want to show their liquidity. Okay, so we can identify that with our algo. There is a correlation tracker as well, and of course you get the advanced education and full support. All right, that's the website. Here's our social media, at bookmap_pro on Twitter. All sorts of great stuff here. You can see, and the YouTube page. All right, on our YouTube page, there's some playlists here. So we have intro playlist. That's for those of you who are new. You might want to start off here. Features and components goes through a lot of the different features. The order flow video snippets playlist. This is order flow phenomena that Bookmap can visualize. This is where you really get the benefit. So you might want to watch a lot of these, as many as you can. They're very short, 2 to 3 minutes each, maybe a little longer in some of them. But this is the kind of information or material that we go through in the live order flow webinars every day. Okay, we just go through them in a lot more detail. All right, so that's some of the basics. Let's take a look at Bookmap and what's going on here in this S&P E-mini. Okay, so let me close up this here, CVD. And I want to cover what we're looking at in Bookmap. In fact, let me actually need to grab something here. Hold on just a minute. Okay, I was just testing something, so I have very little column data here, and I just want to grab that inherit chart settings from NASDAQ. There we go. All right. And let me close this up and turn off a few of these indicators. Okay, all right, so here we are looking at the S&P E-mini. And looking at this, you may think that, wow, all right, there's a lot of different data here that's showing, very difficult to understand and read here. It's actually really straightforward data. It's actually conceptually a lot simpler than what most of us continue to look at every day. Okay? And that's actually an advantage here. And the reason being is that these three elements that we're looking at in the Bookmap chart here, they're not a derivative of time, price, or volume. It really is just the market here. So let me explain. The first element you're looking at here is the historical best bid and offer. Okay, and what's so important about that is it's non-aggregated data. Okay, so if, for example, I turn on a candlestick chart, and let me strip away some of these other elements here. Okay, and also we have a point of control. I want to get rid of that for now. There we go. And let's zoom out. Okay, so here's a 5-minute candlestick chart in Bookmap. Okay, now I've taken all the other layers of information off. And we're very accustomed to looking at this view of an open, high, low, and close of a 5-minute period. And that's the problem, though. It's only 4 data points for 5 minutes. Okay, there's all sorts of other things that happened here that is completely opaque. It's hidden in the candle, right? We just don't know. And the number one thing, very simply to show, is by turning on the historical best bid and offer. We can look at microstructure that happened within this 5-minute period. What do I mean by microstructure? Well, let's just look at this example. Right? Well, we actually, you can see that we started to trend upwards here. Okay? And we broke out of this range right here. And here's our breakout, okay, before this candle opened. And then look at the little retest right to it, where we broke from. And then we see this continuation to the upside. Okay? And again, we see another break of this high here. Okay? It's actually right up here. Okay? We get a deeper pullback, but it's the same concept. We broke above this, and now we're starting to accept above it. And then we're going to see that when I turn on the volume dots, that more buyers stepped in here and broke this high as well. These are little microstructural areas that give us a lot of insight to the future price movement. Okay? All of that is hidden within the aggregated view of a candlestick. Okay? Now, when we turn on the volume, we're really going to understand who's in control here by looking at the volume, the transactions that took place on that historical best bid and offer. So these are the two elements, and we'll get to the third one, which is the heat map. But just all we're looking at, these two elements are the historical best bid and offer and the volume that traded on it. Okay? But look at the insight here. Okay? We can see the speed of these moves, very, very quick, right? And we can see that obviously in this move here, like most of it, majority of it is aggressive buying. Okay, big green dots pulling this market up and breaking this structure here. Okay, and then look at the cluster of and the color of the transactions here as well. We know that there's a lot of buyers. They're in control now for this move. All right, very, very simple, easy to understand user interface. Okay, so the volume here is showing you precisely where it traded in terms of price. Okay, like a footprint chart. Your footprint chart will show you precisely where volume traded. Problem again with that footprint chart though is there's a couple different problems. Number one, it will be aggregated within some sort of bar. Okay, it might be a time, it might be a rotation bar, whatever it is, doesn't matter. It's still aggregated data. It doesn't allow you to see the microstructure. Okay, that's a big disadvantage. The other disadvantage here is that you're not going to see the speed of the moves. You're not going to be able to capture that and understand who's in control with what kind of velocity do they have and power. Here's a lot of buying power here. Okay, and look at this. We actually get a retest right back to where they started here, and we kind of go back and forth for a little bit, but the buyers step in again right here and move this market higher. Okay, now obviously this is a counter trend move with the down day today, but you'll be able to spot these very easily and understand who's in control. All right, so let's just zoom into this little area up here and check out what we're really displaying at really low time frames. Okay, and here it is. Okay, so it's just let me bring up the dot size here. It's very simple data. Just historical best offers, the red line, the green line is the historical best bid, and then these green dots, these are market buy orders. Okay, this is the aggressor classification of volume. We are showing and painting a green dot when someone hits the market buy button. They cross the spread, they take liquidity, they don't provide liquidity, and a transaction occurs on the best offer. Right? So, and you can see the size of the dot relates to the size of the number of contracts traded. Now, if you want specific information, you can hover over and look at these dots with this data tip tool, and you get the date, the time, very precise time, in fact, with the liquidity here. It was 41 contracts here, and this was for a volume of 10. Okay. Now, you can see that we're recording every single event here. None of this information is aggregated. Okay, so we can zoom in here and let's see if this was actually one trade for 10. And it looks like it's actually maybe 2. No, it's 1. Okay. All right, but so we know precisely what occurred there. Okay. Now, if I zoom back out, okay, and we were just down at nanosecond level, looking at billions of seconds. Okay, you can see how these flurries of activity they occur so quickly in the in this market. Right, as I zoom in and I start to spread apart the timeline, we can see precisely what trades and how it traded. You see a spread widen here for a bit, and then you see the buyers come back in here. So the now when I zoom back out though, okay, well, we don't look at those really low time frames unless you are trading algorithmically. And you want to test your algos. This is a perfect environment to understand exactly how your algo is performing with the market data. Okay, very precise data. Every single market event is recorded. Now, as I zoom back out though, right, and I compress this timeline together, well, so many transactions have occurred that just graphically, visually, we do aggregate this data to just so it's easier to understand the overall volume that took place in some of these areas here. Okay, so you can see this pie display, for example. Well, we know that about 2/3 or maybe a little less was aggressive buying, okay, and the rest was selling. So we can see that in this pie display. But as I zoom back in, I split apart all that data. So everything is recorded here. All right. So those are the two elements that you're looking at here in the Bookmap chart now. Okay. Now that's great, and it's an enhancement over a footprint chart because we can get the speed and we don't have aggregated data. Right. So that's let's take the candlestick off here at the moment. And let's take a look here at, there we go. Okay, so that alone is already an enhancement and improvement. Okay, nice move here to the upside. Looks like we may come up and test the figure at 2,600, a few points away. So that's great. We can read the tape here like a pro, right? We can see who's in control and and we have the microstructure, right? But now we want to understand another part of order flow, and that is the auction. Okay? And most of us, how we digest that data and information is with the DOM. And here's our DOM in Bookmap. It's the COB column here. Okay, so everything to the right of this white line here, this is the live market. Okay, so here's our best bid and offer current right now. This number is the last traded volume. Here's our price ladder, and then this is the current order book. This is our depth of market, our DOM. So these are contracts here. These numbers represent contracts. These are traders that want to provide liquidity. They want to be sellers up here at these levels. They want to be buyers down below here. Okay? So you can see that they're always adding and pulling liquidity. This is the current auction. The problem with the current auction is that when those numbers change, it erases the history. We have no clue what happened there before. Okay? And that's where Bookmap solves the issue, because we record it. We take in this window here with the best bid and offer, we take this data that is in the depth of market, and we turn that into a heat map. Okay, so areas of very high liquidity are going to be orange, right? And then less so is going to be yellow, and then white, and then blue, and then finally black would be the lowest amount of liquidity. Okay? You can see the scaling up here. Right. So highest areas of liquidity, well, here they are right here, 641 contracts here at 91, okay, and it's orange. Okay? And then you can see up here as well at 95. And so anyway, when these numbers change, the heat map changes. So we'll see if this guy pulls down here, or maybe these guys pull up here. And what does that look like? Well, when you see these striations here in the history, that's them adding and pulling liquidity. That's when these numbers change. Okay, so we take this data here and we transpose it on the chart historically. So now we can understand the auction. Okay, where are they bidding and offering? Great stuff here. We can already see some. We'll see if these guys are going to pull or not. Okay, as we're just testing them now, but you can see the breakout here. Okay, and look at them lined up here, and they're just trading now. Okay, and let's make a distinction here. Did they trade or not? Okay, so right here, these guys at 91 that we were looking at, they traded. Okay, this is what it looks like when this is real liquidity. Look at the trades, the transactions here that took place right into that high liquidity. So when you hear other traders talk about, well, I don't really look at the DOM, or no one can determine if it's real or fake liquidity. Well, we just determined it. This is real. These traders got filled. Okay. Now, what about these traders down here? Okay. High liquidity again here, and then also here. These traders pulled. Okay, they don't want to trade. So here's what it looks like when they do want to trade, and here's what it looks like when they pull. Okay, the transactions are taking place, but the liquidity has been pulled. So there's real liquidity, and then here's more like fake liquidity. They don't have the intent to trade. All right, and look at these guys down here at this 89.75. They also pulled as price comes down toward them. So now we have a really good understanding of their intent to trade at this level. They don't really want to, and then they jump back in though. Okay, so what they're doing is like they're tentative here. They'll trade. They're kind of keeping their place in the queue, in the line. And they'll make their decision when price comes down. This guy already made his decision. He wanted to get filled, and he did. Okay. Now we're seeing all sorts of little stuff here already. Very, very interesting stuff. And you're going to be able to look at this and start to determine the intent of traders in the DOM like never before. So, for example, look at this down here. Right. I'll use the crosshairs tool. We have high liquidity here. It's about almost 400 contracts. Okay, and he pulled, and he added one tick higher. So I'm pretty sure, 99% sure, this has got to be the same player. Okay, because the moment he pulls, he adds higher. Okay, and so that's actually looking kind of bullish, like he's bidding up here one more tick. But then you can see really what happened when price came down toward him, he pulled. Okay, and then he added back in actually when price traded at the same level, he actually added back in, so showing a little more intent than normal. Usually they don't do this. You see that it'll be dark all the way until price starts to move away, and then they add back into the book. So not so bearish in that sense. And then look at this here, bidding up. Okay, same player as well. This is potential spoofing as well. It could be. We go through it and define. There's a document that you get as well that goes through the details in spoofing and really what it looks like. And not sure, but one thing I am sure about is this was really high liquidity that was in here for a very, very short period. Okay, and it coincides with this move to the upside. Okay? So it looks like it's a skew in that order book, with no intent to trade here, but potentially to just skew the book to get maybe contracts to trade at higher levels here. Okay? Maybe to get them filled up at these areas here. Right? And you can see that, let's zoom in. Okay? These guys want to trade here, and they started to pull. Majority of it pulled, basically, but a lot of transactions did take place here. Okay? We continue to move higher. Here this guy is again. Okay, this is looks like again like a spoofing type of activity. Okay, trying to skew that book to get a price to go higher. Okay, looks like it's working pretty well here. Okay, bulls are clearly in charge. I mean, there's no question about it at the moment with this counter trend trade at this moment, and we're getting even closer and closer to 2600, the figure up here. Okay. All right. Well, so didn't get to too much activity here or order flow phenomena. But I mean, we can clearly see here, I mean, on a higher time frame, this is a great way to use Bookmap. Very, very strong move here, okay? And basing sideways. And then they're bidding at a higher level here. And we saw that they got filled up here, right? So, this is pretty bullish. And we can see the outcome here. Now, a lot of you that maybe you're just looking at volume, and if you are, I mean, that's great. It's a big part of the order flow, but the heat map is giving us so much more. Okay, here's what it looks like with just volume. Okay, and that's not bad, right? But now we can see the intent of traders in the heat map, and this is giving us a lot more insight. Okay, look at this here. And we identified these guys getting filled here. All right, so that kind of data and understanding of what's going on in the market is going to give you an advantage in your trading. Got to end it with that. For those of you who are signed up with Bookmap, we will jump to the next webinar and we'll see you there. Okay, have a good day, guys, and we'll do it again tomorrow.